Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers of happiness, joy, and a centered approach to success in life. Seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation, and we're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right, it's on the calendar, Melissa.
I know, I can't wait.
The Coreology Company Reunion.
I cannot. I've been thinking about it ever since we put it on the calendar, which was, 3 days ago, not very long ago.
So to bring everyone up to speed, Coreology is a company Melissa and I started. We probably started playing with the idea in 2014, maybe.
Yeah.
Started maybe in 15, ran it 16, 17, somewhere in there, five years ago. And then it was a startup, so we could never get it off the ground.
Yeah.
Revenue wise.
Yeah.
AKA we never made any money.
Yeah. But we did have thousands of users on the platform. Like it wasn't a dud. We did a lot of stuff in there.
It wasn't a dud for sure.
No, it was great.
But then we had to shut it down and let our team go, which was probably the hardest part.
We ran out of funding. Yeah.
And then fast forward and so we haven't, some of the guys, two of the people, some of the, our team is still around. We still keep two of them worked for me for a while. One of them went away, came back. Mary's still around.
Yeah.
A bit, but we don't all work together every day like we used to.
I know.
So we're going 5 years later, we're going to all get together for
tacos, of course.
Yeah. A little reunion, a little former company reunion.
I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to see everybody and just reflect on everything.
What specifically are you excited about when getting together with this crew?
Yeah. Well, I was sort of reflecting because, there's a lot of reunions that I've had in my life where I have straight out dreaded them and not wanted to go. Class reunions, some family reunions. It's like, oh, but this one, I'm just so looking forward to it because we had such a good connection, all of us. We were so close and we were so committed to everything about it. We were committed to the mission. We were committed to the project. We were committed to each other. And it was just such a fun time of creation. It was such a fun time.
Yeah. The thing about that group of people that always stands out so much for me, is the emotional connection everyone had with each other.
Oh my gosh.
There was an extremely high level of trust. Everyone was very open. And we were working on, there's a lot of companies that, they make stuff. They generally for good, right?
Yeah.
But something about Coreology and its core mission was really gripping.
Right. It really was. And to this day, when I see parts and pieces of it, when I see some of the videos, I still feel, and it's not false, I still feel like that was such an amazing tool. It was so good. We should probably just do a little overview of that, just not to spin the discussion off too far. But I do think it's important that we kind of give that context.
So what we were trying to do with Coreology was that, I was running a company, Melissa is a professional coach. And what I was noticing with my team was that only the senior leaders were getting coaching opportunities or opportunities to, become more self-aware and have self-development. Because in most companies, team building events or personal development events look much more like team building events, and they're kind of like a one day, rah, let's go.
Right.
And then off you go. Then you don't get any follow up or anything like that. So what we were trying to do with Coreology was basically bring self-awareness and coaching opportunities to everybody in an organization, not just the senior leaders.
Yeah, regardless of their title.
Yep. And the problem, the big problem to solve there was how do we actually bring coaching content to the masses? Because it's not like financially these companies can order or hire a one-on-one coach, like a human.
Right.
So we were basically trying to scale the whole thing with technology. You know, we had hundreds and hundreds of videos all tuned to people's personalities. And then we would have those people over the course of, you know, a few months kind of go on a learning track to learn more about themselves and their natural wiring and how to interact better with their coworkers.
And at a very tactical measurement, basically you just hopped online, you took an assessment of yourself, and based on your answers put you on the rails for particular kinds of things. Like if you felt you didn't have any patience, then it would say, oh, your report indicates that you feel you don't have high patience. And so then it would lock and load people into receiving a video once a week for a number of weeks where they get to practice and they could hear different pieces and parts about what that was. Yep. And the library that we created was, I mean, how many videos did we have? 150 videos or something like that?
Oh, no, it was way closer to like 500 videos. The 150 is the first, was that initial payload. Yeah, you're freaking, you have work amnesia over this project.
Oh, wow. And each one of those videos was curated by as me coaching, saying, okay, what are the key indicators and what can someone understand about themselves differently? And we would do individual work on each one of those videos to help people think about something for the week and then practice something for the week.
Yep. It's a funny project because I will explain what choreology was to people today.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, whoa, that's a really great idea. Why are you guys not doing that? I'm like, because
that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. But we still have all of these great pieces. We still have all the videos.
Yep. They're on VHS tapes, but it's okay. Just kidding.
They are not. And those big round reel things like the movie reels.
All right. So enough about that amazing dead product. Okay. I literally remember like I was pulling together some of that stuff last week and I sent you the link to it.
Yes.
And remember what I said? I said, be careful. This is emotional. And you're like sloughed it off like,
I totally. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean?
What
do you mean it's going to be emotional? No, it's not. And then I think I told you as soon as we hung up, I said, okay, I'm going to watch it right now, which I couldn't do because I was busy. So I kind of forgot about it. And then like that night, I think it was that night, I was doing something else and I ran across it. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I was going to watch those. And I watched the 3 or 4 that you posted and I thought I was going to cry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, the feelings that we created. You know, I mean, you talk about infusing awareness and feelings and things into, you know, what you do and what you think about. It's amazing how that phrase, people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you feel. That was so true when I watched that because all those feelings, I was like, oh, this was such an important thing.
So we started talking about like having a reunion with our team.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about, we had a reunion with our product.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, right? We did. Yeah, and now we're going to have a reunion with our team.
And then we're going to have a reunion with our team. But it's funny how like even being reunited, you know, let's not talk about it a lot, but like being reunited with like a thing, a place, a product, something like that, even brings up a whole bunch of feelings, doesn't it? Yes.
Any reunion brings up a whole bunch of feelings. I mean, I think that's why this is such an interesting topic. You know, I was thinking, you know, as we were sort of getting ready for this conversation, which was, again, a 1.5-minute conversation. I actually, no, it wasn't. I don't even think we talked. It was a text message. Okay. Anyway, when I was thinking about this topic, I was reminded of my 5-year high school class reunion.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, I was trying to get my best friend to go and she was flat out refusing. No, I'm not going. So for weeks she was kicking and screaming towards the reunion. And I eventually strong-armed her into going. And there was a woman that in high school was just an absolute nerd. She was very tall, stick thin. She had the full braces and the headgear of braces.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And I mean, it was just unfortunate. So here's the thing. At this reunion, this woman who is dressed in like this teeny little dress, big hair, I was walking into the restroom and there was a group of guys sitting next to the water fountain right next to the restroom. And this woman walked up to one of the guys and she goes, "Hey, you remember me? This is what you missed." And she walked away. And I was like, what the heck was that? You know?
Yeah.
And he had said no to her when she had asked him to go to prom with her. And so I feel like she spent 5 years getting ready for this reunion, and she was going to prove to him. And she was beautiful, you know, she was beautiful. But I was like, reunions are so weird, you know?
Yeah. So in that context, reunions are like a way to like show kind of maybe how far you've come, right? Like if you were the nerd and then you transformed into Cinderella, like...
So weird. But
people use it for that. I mean, that is kind of like, it's almost a motivating thing. Like,
I'm
I was
going to lose
in high
20
school,
pounds.
and then,
my class reunion's coming up. Or I'm going to turn into someone different before my class reunion.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just maybe to, you know, again, show your progress, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting way to say, hey, this is how I was. Yeah. And then this is how I am now. And just whether good or bad, or even if it's not a super dramatic change, right? A reunion's kind of an opportunity for you to reflect on your own progress. Yeah.
That's a very optimistic and kind way of framing it, because I don't really know if I agree with that. Okay. I think, yes, for someone healthy, I think that's a great thing. But how many of us go into it like that versus, you know what, I hope I see so-and-so because I'm still mad about so-and-so, or I'm going to show
Most people
them.
are going in for revenge.
Revenge reunions. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, getting together with the team?
Yeah.
I think it's just like trying to feel that same spark that we had. I miss that spark. And I'm sure I'm not worried at all that it won't reemerge.
Listen, that's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is we emerge and we're all like recommitted to doing something different. Oh yeah, I know, right?
We all come up with a project. A new project.
A new project that we're all on fire about because we just created so well as a group. I mean, we really did. We really did. I miss everybody from that.
Yeah, there is like a little bit of mixed emotion with like the excitement of getting together, the excitement of rekindling with old friends or old acquaintances.
Yeah.
And then there's this other side, this like sadness that you lost it. Right.
Yeah, and that your moment with them, even for the evening, is just that. It's just an evening. It's not. Yeah, it's not every day. Donuts and pizza Fridays. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
How about family reunions? I mean, there's family reunions are really, really confusing, I think. I think they're kind of confusing for people sometimes.
Yeah, I have to admit, like let's see, we've had a couple family reunions, but they're a long time ago. Like when I was a kid.
Sure. I feel like they were a lot more popular back in the day.
Maybe. I'm wondering if there isn't a societal trend towards maybe not having family reunions. Or I'm sure in some pockets it's still very, very strong. Yeah. But in other pockets, it seems maybe it's died down. That's the pocket I'm in.
I actually, you know what? I hadn't even considered this till just in this moment, but I think you're right. I don't think family reunions are what they used to be. I mean, I think when you and I were growing up, it was a very common expectation that families had family reunions, and it looked like being in a park somewhere or a potluck or
that's it. You know, my biggest family reunion memory is that we drove down to Faribault, Minnesota, and we went to the park, and there's there's the big pavilion, and everyone brought something to eat, and all the kids were running around. Yeah. And all the older folks were sitting at the picnic tables talking about old times. Yeah,
or in lawn chairs because they had a back.
And that was the family reunion. And then mom and dad introduced me to a whole bunch of people that I didn't know. Yeah. And you had to stand there and you had to smile.
Your knees were knocking together because you were so uncomfortable.
I just wanted to go back and toss the football around with my brother.
Yeah.
But we had to politely stand there.
You know, with that loss of connection, I think that we've lost our generational connection as well. Because I feel like in my family, we were spread out, but there was a certain priority that took place. Even if there were people that weren't close in the family or didn't live close by, I felt like when a family reunion was called, it was like, oh, this is a priority. So you do take care of the family first, even if all these things exist. You don't politically agree. You don't live in the same spot. You don't dress the same. You have a weird job. You're not married or you're married. Like those were all the things that used to be sort of those markers, I think, of family reunions that it didn't necessarily matter for that event. You just did it. And I feel like there's been a big shift with that. And I'm wondering what we're losing by not having reunions like we used to.
Yeah, that's a great question. The other thing I wonder is if family reunions are kind of are kind of going away.
Yeah.
Did what replaced it? Is there a replacement that we're just like not seeing? Like, for example,
oh, that's interesting.
Are we not driven to a family reunion because people are kind of connected on like Facebook, for example? Like, oh no, I see all of the updates from the distant cousins because we're on Facebook. So I don't feel the need to go have a real-time in-person interaction with them because I actually have a daily update from them.
Yeah. Actually, that is so insightful because I think that's exactly what's happened. But I have a question. Do you think that those are equal?
No, because the problem is that might work for, say the cousins that are all of generally the same age, right? But that does not help my kids get to know,
their great uncle.
Right, exactly. That doesn't, because they're not on the same platform. They're not in that same area of the internet.
Right. Case in point. The last family reunion that I recall that we had in our family that was kind of an official family reunion, even though it was smaller, okay? My great uncle and his wife were there. Now, she was Japanese, and they met in the war. And my grandfather was also in the war. And when my whole life, I always thought, oh, it would be so great to be Irish. Like, just as like I always just totally loved this idea of the Irish.
Your childhood fantasy was to be Irish.
Well, it kind of was. It sounds super weird. And I was like, yeah, but we're German. Darn it. Like we're German and French and isn't that, I want to be Irish. Okay, so this is case in point, the kind of stuff that happens in family reunions. Because here I'm talking to my great uncle, Everett, and he is a chatty guy, and I absolutely loved him, and he's since passed as well. But in our conversation, I said something like, the culture of our family just, I know we're German, but I don't feel like we feel German. I feel like we feel Irish. And he goes, where did you get that we're German? And I said, well, everybody says that. He goes, we're not German, we're Irish.
What?
I was like, what? And my maiden name was Gildow. And he said, no, our original name was Kildow. And when our ancestors came over on the boat and they changed their name to sound more, quote, American, which I don't know, that's a stretch, Kildow to Gildow.
Yeah.
But isn't that funny? So in that little fabric of conversation, I learned something completely different.
Yeah.
And that would have never happened had we not had that exchange, that time together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we're missing a lot of stories. I think we're missing our heritage. I think we're missing the very core base of what made families our families when we don't get an opportunity to have some of these reunions. I had a client I was talking to a couple months ago, and his family still goes, they all travel somewhere to Iowa, in the middle of Iowa. There's some huge truck and tractor pull. Like, it's a huge deal, I guess, right? And his whole family, all the relatives, all the generations still go to this weekend event. Some of them camp, some of them stay at motels and hotels, and it is their thing. And I heard those stories and I just felt like this sort of kinship to his enthusiasm. And I felt sort of sad that our family didn't have something like that.
Yeah. You guys would have to go on a hunting thing.
I'm out. I'm not doing that. Just hunting.
A canoeing
or fishing.
thing. Well,
Fishing.
you guys get the boundary water or something.
Yeah.
Something.
That would be okay. I can't see my great uncles and aunts though, or my, the next generation. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but it would be fun to try.
Well, this all dovetails into like a lot of things that kind of weave society together and families together, what you're talking about, because this idea that maybe, in some pockets, family reunions are kind of going away. This idea that we promote here with like this individualism, I think is a big contributing factor. It's one of the main threads that probably creates more isolation.
I agree.
Than maybe is actually even good for us, because this individualism idea, and we can be completely autonomous on our own, and we don't need help, and we don't need anything else, creates maybe a very isolated nuclear family. Where you see other cultures, or even in the past, where many generations like lived together.
Right. Yep.
Support, kind of supported each other. The families supported each other much more than maybe they do now.
Yeah. There's a lot of cultures that still are very much like that. But I feel like in America, it's such a melting pot that I think we have to be a little aware of that maybe, and what can we do about that? Because I think, you're right. I think the individualism happens, but here's the thing that I see as the teeter-totter effect here is that individualism in and of itself is fine. But if you connect to this idea very strongly at a young age, what you are missing is historical context. And you create individualism based on your own radical emotions in the moment, based on what you see. But you are not connecting to the deeper historical context that got it where it was, that got the world where it is.
That's interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
Some of those stories, like I was just talking to my dad the other night, and I told him I was flying up to Duluth, and then he told me this whole entire story about how when he was 15, him and his family lived in Duluth for the summer because his dad's construction company was extending the runway at the airport.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, wow, cool.
They had to dig out this giant swamp and fill it up. And my dad, every day as a 15-year-old, while the workers were on lunch break, he went and gassed up all of the big, road construction equipment.
Wow.
But
that was his kid job, huh?
That was his kid job. But there's an example of some of these stories that will absolutely be lost unless, unless they're somehow shared amongst the generations. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess when you start to think about it, it sort of makes sense then why we have all these mixed feelings when you start talking about reunions, like these mixed emotions of sort of enthusiasm and excitement about what could be. And then also, a little sad, but also sort of mourning what you don't have. It's like, I think there's a mourning that happens. Like, I know that when we have our family get-togethers, not really considered a reunion, but just when we gather with the family, we do feel like we're mourning those that are no longer with us, that were always with us. And, with Christmas and everything else like that, I think that's a very natural place that people go.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Reunions of all sorts are just filled with mixed emotions, like anxiety, terror, excitement.
That choreology reunion that we have, maybe we should just put that off till after the first of the year. I'm just kidding.
You gotta lean into all of the emotions. So are you going to go to your I don't know, whatever, next large decade round number high school reunion?
Nope, I'm done. I'm so over it.
All right.
Yeah. The last time I went in with pretty much an open heart. Like I was excited to see, and there were a couple of people that I saw that we saw each other and just burst into tears. Like it was so fun. But then it was just all this nonsense about people still trying to prove they were something that they weren't. And I just was, it was just such, and I went to a big school. I went to Park Center in Brooklyn Park. So there were 380 some people that graduated in my class. So it was not, I think in smaller schools, like those reunions are a very different feeling.
Yeah.
I think anyway. From
maybe.
just
I don't know. I went to a big
heard.
high school too.
Yeah.
I went to my 5-year and I was like instantly transported back to the feeling I had when I was in high school. It was terrible.
Same.
But
yep.
if
Same.
we have like another one and I can catch wind of it, I'm coming in like a freaking helicopter and, like Batman. Look at me now, guys.
Yeah, you want to be that girl who got turned down for prom. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I'm super looking forward to our chorology. A little chorology get together. So
stay tuned. Maybe we'll give a fun update on the pod.
yeah, I was going to say we promise to not start another project or company, but I can't promise that.
Don't you dare. And actually, I think you and I have even talked about being able to drop some of our fun stuff from Chorology on the Self-Awareness Journey website just for a little fun.
Maybe we will reminisce and then resurrect some of our old content.
Just for fun. Air quotes.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well. Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them.
We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring.